It is Wednesday evening, and that means it's time for another Auburn Family Night where we get together and we just talk about what you want to discuss. Your comments, your questions, and your calls. Anything Auburn, if you can relate it back to the orange and blue, that's what we'll cover up here right now. War Eagle Auburn family and War Eagle E2C Network family, thank you so much for joining us. Whether you're watching live, whether you're watching on the replay, whether you're watching on YouTube, home base, or on Facebook, Twitter, however you got here, whenever you got here, across all the different places and times with which you can get this content. We appreciate you being here and being part of our little family within the Auburn family. As is always the case, we'd love for you to start the show out by smashing that like button. It is a humongous help and getting the show off onto a good note. And we'd love for you to check in with us. Post where you're watching from in the comments right now, your city, your state. If you're international, you can do that too with the War Eagle. Just let us know that you're here hanging out. Folks, Wednesday night. I love these nights. Auburn Family live streams. It is the easiest time for me because we just sit back and shoot the breeze about whatever you want to discuss. This is your show. So you pick the topics, you pick the comments, the questions, and you can call in. The phone lines are now open and available here on YouTube. So if you're watching some other format, if you're on the replay too, you won't be able to access it. But live and on YouTube, you can click the link and you can call into the show. It can be just an audio thing or it can be off camera. You can select to have your camera off if that intimidates you. But feel free to do so. Would love to see some smiling faces or hear some beautiful voices. And other than that, we will take your comments and questions from everything. Let me set the table for everybody tonight is my favorite phrase. Today is obviously Valentine's Day. So happy Valentine's Day to you and yours out there. Hopefully there was some Auburn relatedness to all of that. Some more orange and blue than red and pinks and whites and all those other, Valentine's Day colors. Obviously, it's a big night tonight leading up to the tip-off of Auburn versus South Carolina. And then, of course, Kentucky coming up later this weekend. I will be in Auburn this weekend, so we can talk about that a little bit. Baseball is starting. Football for spring is just around the corner. So there are plenty of things that we could dive into this evening, what you find of most interest. So don't be shy. Hop in. We're going to bounce around to 1,000 different topics tonight. And of course, that's the best part of it because that's why I love this show so much. All right. So phone lines are open. Take advantage of them if you'd like to. And we will go from that way. I'm trying to make sure. It's been a minute. So this is the problem with having to do this particular show during basketball season is because we're not able to do it every single Wednesday night because of conflicts with basketball games. And so I get out of the habit and practice. And it's amazing how quickly you can get out of practice. There, I finally found it. There it is. Brought to you by our friends at allthingsauburn.net. They bring you the call-in link, so thank them for allowing you to have access to that tonight. Devin says, War Eagle, and happy Valentine's Day to everybody. Ready for a win tonight. We are all ready for a win this evening. I think it is in some people's minds after the way that Florida went and Saturday went, a do or die win. It's not that at all, but it is very much a opportunity for Auburn to reestablish itself at home this week against two great opponents, really make a statement and impress a lot of people, or re-impress a lot of people. There is no tougher place in college basketball to win on the road than Neville Arena. That's why we call it the Nev, because I say up till now this season, they never win here. We'll see if it happens tonight. I'm actually kind of excited to see what this South Carolina team is made of. Is anybody else kind of not know how to feel about them? Are they legit? Are they real? Are they, is it just a bunch of hype and they've just been on a hot streak? We're about to find out tonight. And of course, we're going to do a post-game stream too as well. Noah, you're asking for a prediction. I mean, I kind of gave it to you right there. I don't know what to think of this team. Here's what I do know. Auburn plays really well at home. They've yet to be beaten this season. They're rarely beaten in Neville Arena. They play much better offensively at home. And that leads me to think that there's going to be a lot of success for Auburn tonight. But I just don't know what's up with South Carolina. I don't know if they're legit. I don't know if they are something to be feared. I don't know. We shall find out tonight very, very quickly. So there's not really a prediction I can give you other than I think it's going to be a good basketball. I'm kind of hoping for a basketball game. Part of me wants the South Carolina hype to be a little bit real, because I love watching people who make preseason prognostications be completely wrong. Auburn's oftentimes doing that, but they put South Carolina at the bottom of the SEC. I think it was the very bottom, and here they are vying for the SEC regular season title up to this point. But we shall see. Noah says 88-75. Auburn pulls away in the second half. We will find out what they're made of in the first minute of the game. In the first minute. Okay. I think that's a little drastic, but you can't really go off of exactly what happens in the first minute. Devin says, so do you want a double-digit win, or do you want a close win that we pull out at the end? I mean, well, of course I want us to smother them. I mean, but I also hope that it's a decent game. I kind of get what you're asking, that if it's closer and then we just kind of slowly pull back, in a perfect world, when you beat somebody, you do it in a way that doesn't expose them, right? Like, we've done to some other teams. You kind of want to have a convincing enough win, but it wasn't like they were out of it the whole game, like some of the other teams that we played this season, like Vanderbilt or something like that, or Alabama at one point. So to me, I think the best scenario for Auburn is to not embarrass South Carolina, make them look legit at home, and take advantage of that in terms of opinions and things like that. All our wins have been by double digits. I would like to keep that streak going. Okay, well, that's one way of thinking about it. We got Kentucky, Tennessee, Georgia coming up. I'm really nervous this month and next. Well, yes, March Madness, or we're heading into March Madness. So yeah, you got Kentucky, you got 2 times with Georgia. I'm still unsure about Georgia too. I haven't bought into the hype with Georgia as much as I have South Carolina. Of course, I'm probably going to be proven wrong by that tonight. But Tennessee is going to be tough. I mean, really, really, really tough. Really tough. Chris, good to see you checking in from Virginia. Thanks for being here. Noah says that Georgia's good at home. I'm going to take what you say and expound it. It's not just Georgia. Everybody is either playing really well at home, or everybody's just struggling, or a combination of the two when they're on the road. To me, it's been less. Well, I shouldn't say that, because we like to tout Auburn's home court advantage. But to me, I think it's really just shown this season how tough it is to win on the road. And it has become the narrative that's being pushed a lot in the media. And I stand by that too, alongside those people that say that. It is clear this year that there's a lot of parity in college basketball, and I kind of love it. In theory, that should make for a great basketball tournament in March Madness. And that's kind of what I'm hoping for as a fan of, just a general college basketball fan, but just an Auburn fan too. I like that there's some challenge and some intrigue to the games. The only away game we won was at Ole Miss, you're asking. No, we won at Vanderbilt. We won at Ole Miss. And then so we won a neutral site game, if you want to throw that into the equation as well. Most people won't, but that was like UNC Asheville, I think. So if you want to throw that into that column, you can, but most people aren't going to. So yes, those would be our 2 main road wins, which one's impressive, the other not so much. We really wish you could have gotten that Florida win or that Alabama win, but that's the name of the game in basketball. Yeah, I know everybody forgot about Vandy because it was over pretty much from the start for them. Chris says, I don't see a lot of KD in the first half at times. What do you mean? You mean you don't see him playing in the first half a lot these days, or like recently? Like, give me some clarification on that. Um, he comes off the bench. He's part of that second platoon that plays really well together, especially energy and defensive wise, which is a kind of a deadly weapon to have. You get hit with Auburn's best out there to start, best in a certain sense, like the most stable, reliable group to start a game off, who gives you solid play usually, and then you're just hitting the mouth with Katie Johnson, with Chad Baker Mazzara, with whoever. We shall see. Yeah, the game is going to start here in about 30 minutes, so we will get out of here in probably about 25 minutes, so everybody has time to make sure they're geared up, ready, sitting in their couches. I know a lot of people are heading that way right now. Students are already in, saw the line. Yeah, it's a lot of excitement built around this game tonight, and it should be. It's a top 15 matchup. Chris says some expounding upon what he was saying. Yes, he seems minimal in the last 10 days in the first half. I could be wrong. I don't have the numbers one way or another to negate what you're saying there or to support what you're saying. To me, I haven't noticed it. In fact, I've noticed him more because of what he's doing with what minutes he has. And I know you probably think about this too. It's not about how many minutes you have. It's what you do with the opportunity that you are presented. And Katie is doing that and then some this season. He's really leaned into his role of coming off the bench, of being a more well-rounded player, still being his fiery, crazy, nutso, psycho self. But and it's not that he was a bad team player before, but I see him now making so many smart passes, giving up on shots that normally he would take. When he starts doing his dribble through the legs thing at the top of the arc, we all start getting nervous and going, no, 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 no. And then he more often than not this season has done something different with it other than just throwing up a three. And a few times he's done it and made the shots. So I just really like his style of play right now. So yeah, I'm very much enjoying watching his season. I'm enjoying watching Chad Baker Mazzara be the diamond in the rough. Not a lot of people were very high on him coming in terms of outside of Auburn. And to see that again be shocking people is a fun thing too. The point spread is weird for this game, 11.5. Are you saying, Noah, that you feel like it's too high for Auburn? I mean, that's just respect for Neville Arena. That's all that is. I mean, truthfully, Neville Arena is just earning its laurels, its respect as a venue, I think, right there, and how Auburn plays in Neville Arena. So I don't think it's weird. I would give a little bit more credit probably to South Carolina than that. If it had been like a 9-8 point spread, I'd been fine with that too. But we're just splitting hairs at that point. But yeah, there's been a lot of people talking about the 11.5 today. We are on TikTok, if you guys don't know, and I do some live streams over there too about midday, just kind of an impromptu. Sometimes they're really short, just to kind of say hello to folks over there and continue to build our community there too. We talked about that a lot this morning. Let's see. They are number 1 in the SEC. Auburn is number 3. Yeah, basically how things shake out right now. You've got South Carolina. Well, I think it's tied actually, isn't it? South Carolina, Alabama, and South Carolina, and then us, which would still make us 3 just by the number of things. You know what? Let's look it up. SEC basketball standings just to make sure we confirm. And I know you probably already are all doing that as I type, but I'm still going to look it up anyway. Yeah, South Carolina sits at the top. Ooh, on a 7-game winning streak. Nice night to snap that. They're having pretty decent success on the road too. 5-2 away. You look at everybody else there, it's not at that good. It's not that much worse, but it's not as good as that. Then Alabama, then Auburn, Tennessee, and Kentucky. So that seems like it's your top 5 there. So the biggest surprise to me this season is the fact that Arkansas fell off like they did, and basically South Carolina has replaced them. Anybody else just shocked by South Carolina. I mean, but yes, by South Carolina, but by Arkansas. Who would have thunk? Little deceiving now, that win at the beginning of the season, right? It was a little bit, we were all kind of hyping that one up, saying, wow, if this is how Auburn plays on the road against Arkansas and gets this type of win, then they're not going to be challenged much in the SEC. And now we've found out that Arkansas were imposters. Lots and lots and lots of talent there, but not a lot of cohesion, not a lot of team working together. So, yeah, it's tough. WT, where you been? We've been on for about 30 minutes. Really about 15 or 20, but I went live a little early tonight just because of the game. Going to cut our show a little bit short. So I wanted to make sure we gave adequate time for everybody to call in and talk to us tonight if they would like to. But we're glad that you're here. Just got off work. Yeah, so it's one of those things too. I've been asked before, because I know a couple other shows have chosen to go on at 8 now. Asked why don't you guys move times? But it seems like this is the sweet spot for a lot of people, and it works well for me personally too. People getting off work and things like that. So that's why we just try to keep it the same. Man, everybody's popping in now. It's like good to see all of you guys. Thank you for being here. As we were just telling a couple other people who popped in, we've been going for a few minutes now just because we started early because of the game tonight. But good to see all you fine folks here this evening. We've already been talking about basketball a little bit. Can I ask? We can come back to basketball, but let me. Anybody excited about baseball? Huh? Auburn baseball's back this season, baby. I'm excited. Anybody else out there? I know there are a lot of games in the season, and it's tough to keep up with them all because you've got basically 4 games a week, and well, sometimes 5 games a week on some of those, and it's tough to keep up with them all. Tyler says Tyler, you are over on TikTok with us a lot, right? Trying to keep everybody straight here that I know joins us on both platforms. Noah, your cousin is Chase Alsip. Well, cool beans. We are excited about Chase leading off us this Friday evening. We talked about it on our preview show this week. Austin and I did the lineup potentially being Chase, Joseph, and now it looks like it's going to be Carson Myers is going to be that third guy. I think that's the one thing that Auburn, not one thing, but one of the things that Auburn really needed last year after Joseph Gonzalez went down was finding a more solid group to maintain that starting rotation. So if we can get Chase, Joseph, especially those two to lock in there and be the 1-2 punch to start off the weekend, it puts you in a really good position. And then if Carson Myers can step up and lock down that third spot, and it can be by committee too, but I'd like to find a third one. We could be in a really good spot. Chase got a call from the Braves last season in Tampa. Well, cool beans for him. Good to see you, George, Jim. I don't know which one to call you. I don't think Austin's going to be at tonight's game. I don't think he's going to be there. Austin has 2 twin boys, very, very young twin boys. And for those of you that don't know, and they do keep him away from many of the events. They are very loyal supporters of gymnastics. And I don't know if they get a babysitter or what for that, but he went to the Bama game. Blame him for the loss. You can. But I don't think that he will be there. I think he said as much on the game, on the broadcast this Sunday. I think he did. South Carolina is small, but they play defense like they are all over 6'10". I used this analogy a little bit, I want to say like a week or so ago, maybe not even a week ago. Most of you will remember the name Deshaun Murray, who played what I would consider small forward for us, but the way he played, the way he rebounded, he was a 6'6" guy who played like he was 6'10" or 7 foot, like you said. Rebounding, defense down there is 50% skill, 50% desire. And boy, did he maximize every bit of it. So if South Carolina plays like Deshaun Murray used to for us, that'll be a challenge no matter what their size is, but I hope we can assert ourselves at home. They normally have a baseball game the same day as 8A. Well, Justin, you are in luck, sir, because they don't just have a baseball game on this year's 8A game. They got them all weekend. And this is why I encourage people to make sure that you come to not just a day. And I know it's travel plans and all that stuff, but come to a day weekend. Make it a whole weekend. I know you got to find places to stay, but listen, some of y'all got RVs and stuff and campers. I think they allow that to happen. My goal and my hope is to turn a day weekend into a big tailgate fan fest thing. I would love nothing more for us to really maximize that and make it look like an actual game day at Auburn. Just a bunch of Auburn fans. And you can actually fill it up with only Auburn fans, have them all over campus and stuff. That would be so cool. So cool. So yes, I am going to a day. The plan is to go to a day unless scheduling conflicts arise, which you never know after the year I've had. But that is the plan, to be there all weekend. I might actually come to Auburn that Thursday before and just be there just in case some things start popping off. And because I love being there. But I'm going to be there this weekend too. I almost came yesterday. I almost decided to go down yesterday to Auburn for the weekend to go to the women's basketball game, but I just couldn't justify it at this point. Let's do an E2C fam meetup at a day. We could probably pull off something like that. The trouble, so here's the problem. Right now, we are a small show and a small operation. We do have people who volunteer with us and do some content production with us, but those are just volunteers. One day when we grow bigger and I'm able to have staff alongside me and do some of the work that I do when I'm on campus, then we can do some more of those type things fully. The problem is that when I am on campus, I'm working. I'm trying to get photos and videos put out to you all on social media. But I did some experimenting this season with having a kind of a tailgate spot more regularly. And it wasn't as cumbersome to set it up and bring it down as I thought it would be, even with all the parking changes. So that may become a reality. What I try to do is stress to everybody, come to Tiger Walk. I will always, if I'm on campus for a game day, even for a day, they're going to do a Tiger Walk, I will be there to film it, and I will be there likely an hour ahead of time. So that's a perfect time to come say hello, to meet up, if nothing else, as an informal meetup time. But Justin, it's a great idea and something that we've had suggested a lot, and I'd like to do in a more formal setting. It's just about time and resources and all that good stuff. Oh, several tents. Well, you never be careful what you offer. we might take you up on that one day. Where do you guys, real quick, Justin, and anybody else can answer this too, where do you guys typically tailgate at? Like what spot? You don't have to give me your exact spot because I don't want anybody to feel like you're going to have it stolen or something like that. I'm just curious, where does everybody park? Where does everybody, and I'm talking about regular game days. I know a day doesn't really count, but regular game days, where do you park? Where do you tailgate at? Anybody wants to share, please feel free to do so. Noah says, I think Auburn's football schedule is a little tough this year. I think it is manageable, is maybe what you meant, but still tough. Well, any schedule that has SEC teams on it is going to be tough. When you compare it to last season, though, it is going to be a little bit easier, especially the way we start 5 games in a row at home. Hello, September heat. Yeah, it's going to be tough in that weather alone. But I do think we have a little bit easier of a schedule this year, potentially. Normally over by the softball field on the hill. Well, for me, that's a little bit far just in terms of setting up an own personal tailgate. I got to have it somewhere in the middle of campus. We did it in amongst some of the quad areas between the dorms right there. In fact, we were in the quad space between some dorms closest to the student center. Did that for a lot of reasons. And believe it or not, outside of the Iron Bowl, we had no problem securing that spot. Wasn't too bad. The new end zone screen is coming. Can't wait. Yeah, we've got till next year, just the next season, to see that. It is exciting. I think it's the first step in more to come. Clearly stated in the press release about it. The future, it was developed, the way it was conceived and developed was for future editions. And I think it's smart. What I've been impressed with, John Cohen is our AD, is not only his reputation for facility building, but the way he seems to be going about it, not rushing things just because that's what everybody expects him to do. And that's what everybody desires, but making sure you get it right. And then taking tangible steps like this new video screen, replacing the scoreboard, a part of the stadium that clearly is quote unquote out of date, as much as I love nostalgia, and then using the foundations of that to expand the concourse back there to get ready for what's coming. It's just brilliant planning and marketing for what you're already known for in building facilities. I just hats off to him. I think it's being done very well. Yeah, I feel like you talk about this a lot, Unbeaten Lake. Still waiting for the new apparel deal. I would think we would hear something this month, but I guess it could be like, why do you think this month? You got some information I need to know about? I don't know that Clint even knows if something's happening this month. For most of you, maybe some of you aren't in the loop about this. We did talk about this last September. Auburn was able to go meet with other apparel companies to be their facilitators for such needs, Nikes, Adidas's, and so on and so forth. But nothing's really come of that. It's going to be a big, if nothing's been announced by the time basketball is done, March Madness is done, and we're like in the middle to back end of baseball and softball, people are going to start getting antsy, and it's going to be the big summer between that and NCAA football, if it'll ever come out, the video game. That's going to be the big things. Just feels like it would be something announced at the beginning of the year. I think timing is everything. I think you got to find the right time to announce something like that. Right now, there's still a lot going on, and it might get lost in the minutia of everything with spring ball and stuff. To me, I don't know. Look, I don't know when the contract technically ends. I can't remember. Actually, hold on one second. Auburn, Under Armour contract through June 2025. So starting from June of this year, they'll have 1 year. So to me, I think, and there's reasons for that. They got to get the apparel done a year in advance. So to me, you're not probably going to hear anything until summer. So I wouldn't get your hopes up. I have no information to say that that's true. That's just my speculation, my reasoning on it. So if it's going to end in summer of 2025, a year out might be the big thing. Yeah, we're going to get done here in just a little bit. We want to make sure we at least cover what everybody has. If you're going to call in tonight, I would hurry up and do so. I know we've got a smaller crowd tonight because everybody's focused on the game, but since we weren't able to do a Wednesday show last week, we wanted to make sure we get one in tonight. I am pleased to tell you we will have a Wednesday night show next week because basketball will not be playing in a midweek game. Everybody gets a break. Auburn's is next week, which will be weird. It'll be really weird to not talk twice in 1 week. And you think I would take a night off, but I'm not gonna. Softball is winning, Tyler says. Yeah, I thought I heard they were doing well in Mexico. I think Maddie Penta just broke some record or something like that for strikeouts. I wasn't paying attention all that close. Wednesdays is usually I shut it down from about like 5 till showtime just to kind of chill out for a little bit. And usually you think I would learn things start happening and in the middle of all that, I miss out on some things. I appreciate you guys being here for the show. I really do. I appreciate that. It means a lot having you guys here. And this is why I love doing the Wednesday night show, because it's pretty laid back, no agenda. Whoever shows up, and we just have fun talking about Auburn stuff. All right, we're about 14 minutes out from the basketball game getting started. We will round out our show, or start to round out our show here. So don't run off just yet. Get your final comments, questions, derogatory rebuttals in right now. Topics that you want to hit rapid fire at the end. Let me remind you of what's coming up tonight. You don't want to miss it. After the basketball game, Auburn versus South Carolina, we are doing a post-game show as we always do. Do not miss that. It's going to be a lot of fun. And if you love it that so much, we're going to be doing another one after the Kentucky game. May not start directly after the game. It might. We'll see if I get into the game or not. That will be dependent upon that, and then where I can set up to do the show. But we will do a post-game show for that as well. This Sunday evening, the Auburn Experience, episode 67, live recording 9 Eastern time. Do not miss it. And then, folks, this is a little bit of something that I'm going to announce, tentative right now, but keep this in mind. It is baseball season. We tried this last season. We are going to try to do a Tuesday, usually a Tuesday night show, about catching up about what happened in the week of Auburn baseball. So this one you can see is for next weekend. We'll have played Eastern Kentucky. We'll have just gotten done playing UAB when we do this live stream. It'll be later. And then heading to the Jacks College Baseball Classic. It's kind of a what just happened, what happened the past weekend, and what to look ahead. Just kind of to give you some baseball content. So we're going to give that a shot. We may not do it every single Tuesday night or midweek. It'll be dependent upon what's going on with basketball, everything else. But once basketball's done, we will definitely do those as a midweek show for you guys. All right. What else is on y'all's minds to round out the show? Am I going to any basketball games if I can afford it? I will be on campus. I'll be going to College game day because everybody's getting in and they're going to clear the arena out, it looks like, at least for the regular fans. And I will continue to look to see if prices become more reasonable. I don't think they will. It's tough out there, folks. I've thought about maybe going to the Tennessee game. It is quite a drive for me, but it's one thing I've been wanting to do. So I might do that on a whim. Georgia's not too far away. So as of this moment, I have no plans like a ticket to be there, but I'm hoping that will change in the near future. WT is liking the new additions to the coaching staff and football, hopeful for the future. Yeah, we did a little breakdown of that. You knew about that on the Auburn Experience show, but also on the we released that segment on YouTube as well. Bama losing all their coaches for a change. Yeah, it's not going well for them, is it? And I'm not saying that I am enjoying watching them reel in their own misery, but I am. Game day back this Saturday. I remember 10 years ago wishing we would get game day in basketball to come to Auburn, but never thought it would happen. And now 4 times in the last 6 years, something like 6 or 7 years. And is it 3 in a row or 3 out of the last 4? Either way, because it was for Kentucky, Alabama last year, Kentucky before that, I believe. So I think it's 3 years in a row. If that's not a sign of things to change, here's what I want to say. I understand being frustrated, but when people after a loss want to question Bruce Pearl and think that they actually sound smart, just the fact alone that College game day is coming on a regular basis to Auburn for their show, and that's because of Bruce Pearl, you just look stupid. If you have legitimate problems with Bruce Pearl even after a loss. Like, I understand being frustrated by things, but you really got to check yourself when you look at the whole picture. College game day coming to Auburn at all is a big deal. College game day coming to Auburn several years in a row is a much bigger deal. So just my thoughts on that. What are our chances to go to the tourney this season in basketball? Really high, 95%. That's what I think at this moment. 99% maybe. I think Auburn would have to truly fall off the wagon to not make it to the tournament this year. It's just my opinion, but I do think that that's probably some truth there. You know, if they get this win tonight, if that's possible, not presuming anything, if they get the Kentucky win, that pretty well locks their resume in, no matter what happens the next season. But the rest of the season, not next season. It's not a sure thing. It's pretty high likelihood right now. 2021 shouldn't count because they only did it in studio, but 2020, 2022, and 23, and now 2024. They're all written out, the college game day appearances right there. Most new fans have no idea how down in the dumps Auburn basketball was for so long. Coach Pearl has made it one of the top teams year in and year out. He's the only coach that could do it. I don't know that he's the only coach that could do it, but he might be one of the very minimal few that existed that was the right fit for Auburn. And when you find the right fit, it's a beautiful thing. And I think when you look back at his time at Auburn, I mean, listen, folks, we're not that far away from it being done. His contract only goes to 2030. And, you know, if he goes out in a certain way, he might take the opportunity just to say, I'm out, handing it over to Steven. So enjoy Bruce Pearl while you got him. That's all I'm going to say about that. All right. Last minute questions, comments, derogatory rebuttals. Get them in now. Get them in fast. Get them in hot. This is your last opportunity to do it for this show. We will be doing our post-game stream after this, but I don't want you to miss something. If you wanted to ask anything or address anything before we get out of here, again, I hope to see you for our post-game show afterwards. Kentucky is trash. They're always trash. They're trash this year. They have a chance not going to the tournament after going for the last 23 years. I haven't ruled them out yet, but if they don't get their act together, yeah, it's a possibility. That one's not as surprising to have seen to be underwhelming. John Calipari teams are always chock full of talent, but he's either got them rolling or not. And he has to like clean house, which he does every year anyway, because they're one and dones usually, and then starts over and he's back to it. Basketball, I would say, is a lot harder to stay consistent unless you're able to just bring in regularly the talent like your Kansas, typically Kentucky, your UCLAs, your North Carolinas, Indianas, all that. Like you can stay more consistent by your recruiting sometimes in basketball. But anyway, all right, folks, hope to see y'all after the show. Thanks for being here for a little bit of an early start, but also for a shorter show tonight. We will be back next Wednesday for another Auburn Family Night call-in show. Tell a friend, invite a friend to be part of our little family within the Auburn family. Smash the like button on the way out and join us for the post-game stream after South Carolina. Rain or shine, win or lose, we'll be there. Till I talk to you guys again, thank you for hanging out with me tonight. And of course, War Eagle.